Now we straight chillin', serial killing, three cool villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another very festive episode of Straight Chilling. I am Bob, and we're covering the Overlook Film Festival as per usual. We were lucky enough to be invited back, so big thank you to everybody over at the Overlook Film Festival. With me, as always, you got your boy Randeezy. What's up, man?
How's it going, buddy? It's good to finally get to talk about this again. So we had another good turn in New Orleans this year. So excited to get to it. I'm not going to hold us up.
Yeah. And last but not least, you got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Soju. Here to say I participated.
Your trophy's in the mail.
Yeah. Festival season is in full swing, and Randy and I were able to be in New Orleans in person again for the Overlook this year, and we met up with friends of the show, Nicole from Light and Shadow, as well as Matt from Swords and Stereo, and Nicole's husband was also there hanging out, even though he's not a huge horror head. So we had a little squad, and we're going to just sort of like recap all the events that happened while we were there, and then we'll get into the movies. But the first kind of big thing that we ended up going to was the opening night party, which seems to be almost always vampire themed, is the ongoing sort of vibe.
It's New Orleans. I mean, what are you going to do?
What
can you do? Yeah, it's that's one we didn't stick around for too long.
Your boys aren't big vampire kids. I mean, come on.
I didn't. My leather bustier didn't come in the mail in time, so
we were underdressed.
Yeah, but we did pop on in, and unfortunately, we did leave early. We decided, like it was just kicking off, and we're like, maybe we'll just go grab a drink or do check something out. We had a friend to go meet with. Yeah. A high school friend was playing on Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
So we went to go check that out and never made it back, but there was a lot of faces that showed up this year to that. Last year was like kind of a tight spot, but this year, I guess Flanagan and Katie Siegel showed up. A few other people that I'm forgetting who they were now, but there was at least a few people that were mentioned as showing up to that.
Mm-hmm. So that's what you get for having friends.
I know, friends over celebrities. What am I thinking?
What a waste of time.
When y'all showed up, was there a lot of leather present?
Not as much as you'd think, I'm sad to say.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. There was some vampire burlesque that we missed out on, unfortunately.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Someone was like dressed up like the Queen of the Damned, like really impressive costume. So, and they had some music, like a DJ was there, and he was doing these like techno like versions of like horror themes and stuff. Which was
kind of rad.
Yeah.
Cool. It was a much better venue than for this event than the last year. Last year it was like really hard to get around. This one was nice and open. Yeah. It's a nice spot.
Yeah.
Generation Hall, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we went to the next day horror trivia. We played some horror trivia, which is an ongoing thing they have pretty much every year as well. This one was hosted by Daily Dead, I think is who hosted it. And they had like 5 rounds, and we ended up finally winning a round of trivia for the first time. We did.
Boys, finally.
Whew.
Don't disappoint me over there. I mean, especially with Nicole and Matt on the team. What's going on?
We did.
We had a good turn there. That was a very eventful trivia, as it usually is.
Yeah, we I think like in the middle of round 2, we were hanging out, and like behind us walked up Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel, and we were just like completely forgot that we were playing trivia. Basically, we're like, oh my god, we got to go talk to him. So we did that for a while, and got some pictures, and they were very gracious and very, very sweet. And we ended up winning round 3, and then
it's worth mentioning also that we met Michael Felker, the director of Things Will Be Different, and he joined us for trivia and pitched in his share on that. Real sweet guy. We'll talk more about that later, probably.
Yeah, we hung out with him like almost every day, which was
he's just
cool.
happened to be at every single like screening we were at, just about.
Yeah.
Similar schedule.
He actually follows us, intently, and he was like,
I think I saw him on the
Bob and
street
Randy
corner
are there. Maybe they'll talk about my movie if I hang out around them.
I think he's looking at me right now.
Yeah,
through this window.
Totally. The next sort of event thing we did was Friday night. We went to the 10th anniversary screening of Oculus, and Mike Flanagan was presented with a Master of Horror award before the movie started, which is something the Overlook does not every year, but once in a while they'll give one out, and it's like a full size axe. It's huge.
It's just an axe.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mike properly pointed out, like, I don't know how I'm going to get this home. It's like,
I'm not gonna get this through security, my guy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's on the fly list,
And after the movie, they did a Q&A with Mike Flanagan, and I did record all that audio, and that'll be dropping over on our Patreon as a mini cast in the next couple weeks too. So keep an eye out for that.
Nice. Give us a little tease. Was there some sweet information in there? He dropped some little nuggets.
We got to ask some questions, actually. Go ahead, Bob.
Really?
Yeah. He talks about a bunch of different stuff, like his inspiration for making the movie and like how important it is to just make a damn thing, and then you build some sort of creative momentum that like propels you right into the next project or whatever. He talked about his sobriety a little bit too, and also about the number of dogs they do have and probably will have in the future. Dog heavy Q&A.
Cool.
But that was Phil Noble Jr. was moderating that. He's from Fangoria. So we had some good questions, and then the audience asked some questions too.
Nice.
The Over the Garden Wall retrospective was the next kind of event thing that we went to Saturday morning. And Pat McHale and Nick Cross, the creator of Over the Garden Wall and the, I guess, creative director.
Yeah.
We're both there. And they did like a presentation.
Art director.
And they showed a bunch of like early sketches and early shorts and stuff, and talked about the creation of the music and where it all came from, basically. And they were also very cool. We got to talk to them a little bit on the press line and get some autographs too, which is pretty cool.
That's dope. Were some of the shorts different than like, I think Bobby, you had mentioned that they showed the pilot or whatever, which is available to watch on YouTube, which I always watch every year as part of the show anyways.
Me
but
too.
I work it in. I've got like the perfect spot. But did they show new stuff, like different stuff that's not really available?
Yeah. Like really early sketches that really had nothing to do with Over the Garden Wall, but I think, I guess like in retrospect, Pat McHale was like, "Oh God, that's like absolutely just where it started," which was kind of cool. He had characters that looked very similar to,
but nothing like complete, like a full little cartoon or anything.
That was the most complete thing, was the pilot for sure.
Okay.
But they had some like student work that they showed, and they just kind of talked over the process of getting it made and how it got trimmed down and all kinds of like, just nifty little details.
Randy, I bet you love that.
Yeah, man, that was my number one most anticipated thing, and it did not disappoint.
Hard to do it in spring, though, right?
What? I had to break your rules, and I don't regret it.
Really difficult, very difficult to do. Saturday night, we went to the world premiere of Abigail, and the co-directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette were there, and we got to talk to them on the press line a little bit too, or really Randy did. And then they had a Q&A after the movie that I recorded as well. And I might be able to squeak that one out. The audio wasn't quite as clear on that. So there's a little noise, but pretty cool gents. And that movie is a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. For sure. Yeah, it was the press line was a clusterfuck for us all the way through, because neither one of us are trained in such things. And so we were learning as we went. And then Bob was like, we didn't seem like we were going to have a chance to ask questions. It was like too little time. So Rob went to go to the bathroom and never came back. And I got to ask questions. I was like, I don't remember the questions, and I can't look at my phone.
God.
Oh, God. And so I just kind of like freewheeled it. It worked out fine.
Yeah.
Nice and professional.
I felt bad about that. They did actually say, "Hey, you guys aren't going to be able to ask any questions." Yeah. So I was like, well, I've been holding my piss for like an hour. So I went to go pee.
our buddy Jason, who's like the press like lead there, who helped us out with everything, he was like taken aback. He's like, okay, guys, we're no questions, sorry. And then whoever, one of the handler type people, were like, no, we'll answer questions. We'll just go down the line. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So it was total surprise to everybody that they.
Bob.
It all worked out in the end.
Bob, that you're getting old. That bladder just can't hold it.
We're gonna have to get you a catheter next year.
Just go, man. Just go. After that, we went to the closing night party, which is always a full-blown Halloween party. Everybody's in costume. And it was at the same venue. We showed up a little bit late to that. We missed the opening band, but we caught the headliner, which is a band called Boyfriend. And they had some of the backing band was several members from the Revivalists, which is another just really well-known band. And that show was fucking amazing.
That kicked so much ass. I'm like, none of us, of the three of us that were there together, knew this musician Boyfriend, but God, what great fucking stage presence. Fucking hilarious music. It was great. Like tongue-in-cheek stuff and mixed in, very like X-rated in many ways. It was great.
Yeah, They had like 5 or 6 costume changes with like backup dancers, and they were like doing choreography
what
with
was
like
the cover they did,
fans and frying pans and shit. It was awesome. They did several covers.
Sex and Candy was one of them.
Sex and
for
Candy,
sure.
yeah. Let Me Smell Your Dick was one.
Let Me Smell Your Dick was in there. Yeah,
they had like 3 or 4. I think they did a Nirvana song. I can't remember.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It was good though. It was super
cool.
Good. Yeah.
That was super good.
Super good. Those were like the main event things that we went to. We saw a bunch of random folks walking around. Barbara Crampton was there again. She invited us to her podcast event, which we couldn't make it. But
yeah,
David Dastmalchian was there, and he was presenting Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D, and he was doing it as his Dr. Fearless character, and we missed that as well. We couldn't work that into the schedule. They showed Phantom of the Paradise.
Yep.
Bam. Got it. I got there eventually.
Almost threw out the net there.
Got there eventually. And the guy that wrote all the music for that was there. They did a Q&A. We missed out on that. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we couldn't quite fit into the schedule.
The Beyond also. There's some sort of house party that
gotta
closed.
Quit your jobs. Yeah. This got to be our full-time business.
Totally. I took several full days off, and the way this thing is scheduled, there's no way.
Can't do it. Yeah. Vinegar Syndrome had a table. Super Yaki was there. They made all the merch for the event again. They had a table. Mm-hmm. A lot of cool shit. Also, when we went to another Q&A after In a Violent Nature, and we talked to Chris Nash, the director, a little bit. We gave him a straight chilling sticker, and he put that thing on his chest and wore it throughout the entire Q&A, which was super rad.
Cool.
That's the best marketing we'll ever get.
I know. Yeah.
As far as
but yeah, that's pretty much all the major events that we went to. So we can get into the movies here. There was I think 15 total movies we were able to see. Several of them were screeners, so we'll hit the screeners first. First up, a movie called Things Will Be Different, and Randy, you mentioned this was directed by Michael Felker, who was a super cool dude we were hanging out with a lot throughout the weekend.
Yeah,
by design.
Yeah. Someone's design. I don't know whose, but
it's the grand design. We watched this. We got the screener, and I was very grateful that of any of the screeners we got, because it was so hard to schedule everything. But just I think it was maybe Friday that I just ran into Michael. I was like, "Oh, what?" Saw a filmmaker badge. "Oh, what's your film?" He's like, "Oh, it's this one's." Like, "Oh, well, we emailed each other," or he was like, "Oh yeah, I emailed you the screener." I was like, "Oh,
cool."
Anyway, so yeah. Really, really nice guy, man. I really like this dude. So
yeah,
to joke around and shoot the shit a lot.
The movie, it was produced by Benson and Moorhead, and if you've seen any of their stuff, this is very much in that vein. It's got some time loopy kind of puzzle boxy sort of stuff happening.
It's weird how they have a vibe, and even seeing another filmmaker working with them, this film fit that vibe immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
it's very kind of
crazy.
like mind bendy. There's like seems like really important rules, but they're kind of fluid and stuff. It's a pretty cool movie.
Tough to figure out rules. Yeah, that's I spoke when I the one question I asked Michael about the movie was like, is there a firm like he mentions that it's like a puzzle box and a lot of what he talks about with this movie, and I'm like, so is there like a right solution?
Yeah,
and will you
did
ever
you,
reveal
like,
that? And he said he just doesn't know if he's going to ever reveal it or not, but he does have something. There's some additional scripts in this universe maybe being played with right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
thought that was really
very
awesome.
mind bendy. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, if you're into Benson and Moorhead stuff, I would highly recommend checking Things Will Be Different when it drops. We don't have a release date for that one yet. Not totally sure where it's going to end up, but keep an eye out for that. Coming soon. Next screener we got here is a movie called All You Need Is Death.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Oh,
This
sorry.
has a superlative.
Yeah. Randy made superlatives for all the movies, and I blasted through it.
You just blasted right through my superlatives. Most blasting goes to Rob.
Thank you.
The superlative for this film is the film most likely to make you say what and huh. So there you go.
I don't
All right. Now we move on.
most likely
Ooh,
to
glad
forget.
we got that in.
Thank God. It was very important.
All You Need Is Death is an Irish production, and it's basically about this couple that go around Ireland trying to collect these very ancient Irish songs, like Celtic type songs, and they record them. And there's a reason they're doing it that is revealed eventually, and the sinister shit starts to happen. I don't think we have a release date for this one yet either. Did you guys check this one out?
I didn't get a chance to see this one.
I did get to check this one out, and this one, Rob, I know you had mentioned there's another movie we're going to talk about later that it was hard to understand through the accent. This was the movie that hit that for me. Like I had a real tough time where I was like rolling it back quite a bit. These screeners, they don't have captions just like they wouldn't in the theater, and it's understandable. But man, I didn't know how reliant I was on that shit before I watched this movie. But yeah, it's a really interesting movie. I really like the conceit of it. It just goes into some really bizarre places. I don't know, like there's like some like love potion-y things happening. Some I don't know. It's a pretty interesting movie, and I really like just the Irish folkloreness of it, and I kind of wish there was just a little bit more of that even.
Yeah,
last year.
great.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say last year Australia had like a big boom. It seemed like, and I've heard also like Irish film kind of come up a little bit. Liz had mentioned another one that she saw at South by Southwest.
We'll get to
and
that.
what you've been watching. Oh, okay, yeah. So
we will get to
maybe
that
it's
one
the
for sure.
Irish boom, boys.
Maybe.
There was only 2 Irish in this particular
So,
festival,
I mean,
but maybe
it's
it
April.
is, Well, I just mean for this festival. At this festival, Australia was the dominant force for sure. in
Yeah.
terms of, international film.
Yeah.
Domination. Yeah,
Yeah.
so All You Need Is Death. Randy, you got a superlative for that?
I do. This one is the most likely to make you cross your legs. If you
Whoa.
see it, you'll understand.
Oh no.
I
Very
do
ominous.
understand. I understand that. So next up is a movie called Dead Mail.
I
Oh,
get
yeah.
it, guys.
I understand. Dead Mail is probably one of my favorites of the festival, actually. Super interesting movie about this guy working in a mailroom in the 80s, and I think it is 1980. And he gets a piece of mail that's covered in blood, and it's asking for help. Doesn't have an address on it, and it's sort of his job to find out where letters are supposed to be that have incorrect addresses or no address at all. So he's kind of looking into that, and the story sort of expands in very interesting, bizarre ways. The score is very synth heavy. The movie is very much about synthesizers in a way, and the music is fucking amazing. I really like the vibe of this, and the story is just kind of weird, man. The way they tell it in sort of like 3 different chunks. Super cool movie. What did you guys think?
This movie has like no right to be as good as it is, kind of, or it just and in some ways because it just the performances are really fantastic, actually, and actually almost everything about it's pretty fantastic. It's a unique narrative structure. They nailed the kind of retro vibe they're going for. I didn't really know what to expect. It takes a couple twists and turns, but it's also kind of like low key great. Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones where I don't know. I would be very curious to see how a wider audience would react to this, but I don't think it would get the opportunity, but it should. It's, it's kind of one of those ones where you're like, where's it going to land? Are people going to get to watch this one? But it is good. I was impressed.
I was as well. I mean, like, it's definitely a smaller scale movie for like, yeah. I think it might have like, I also want it to be distributed, and I'm definitely going to sing its praises more and more because it deserves to get some eyes on it. It's just so stylish and so like the retro vibe, and it's like plays with like it's doing basically a style pastiche of like almost made for TV true crime fictionalizations from like the late 80s or something, but it also sometimes feels like a David Lynch movie. Like it goes places, man. And like Rob said, if nothing else, you can lean on that score, man. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, hopefully Shudder gets it. I think it'd be a good place for it to land.
Hopefully.
I hope so. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't just ease out onto VOD sometime in the next 6 months. And it definitely deserves to be watched. So keep an eye out for Dead Mail. Rainey, what's that?
This is the best heavy quotes true story of the festival.
Heavy
based on a true story.
It's a true story. Argo's a true story.
Right. The next screener we got here is a movie called Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person, which is the longest title I have ever seen.
Yes. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Well, no.
This is a
Mixed Up Zombies gets that one.
This is a French production, and I don't know.
Canadian French, I believe.
Oh,
it's Quebec, I think.
Quebecois. I don't think
Come
we
on,
have
Bob.
a release date on this one either. Juice, you really liked this one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did really like this one. It's very cute. It's very precious. It's reminding me a lot of, or not, but like A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night mixed with like some late 2000s like indie teen dramas. But yeah, I did. I thought it was cute. I mean, it's low key. It's chill. It's got some good needle drops and stuff like that. It's got like a good vibe and soundtrack. So yeah, it's a sweet little story about a vampire who grows up having trouble killing people. Like she doesn't want to drain people of their blood. So yeah.
How sweet.
Yeah.
I'm a monster!
Yeah. It's I like it a lot. It's definitely very cute and adorable. Like honestly, it's hard not to compare this to A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Yeah.
There's like that movie, it's got a romantic element to it, and it's got a I don't know. Even like the visual style, even though it's in color this time, it really feels like a more accessible version of that movie that would be more appropriate, or a little bit more appropriate than that other movie for younger audiences. But it's very sweet and good in its own right, I think. It's just, it's kind of hard not to make the comparison. They're so similar in a lot of key ways.
Well, yeah, it feels like several different kind of vampire films. Byzantium, it definitely kind of feels like that. It also reminded me of that one a little bit that I covered with Caitlin recently that's got, what's his name? Loki in it.
Only Lovers Left
Only
Alive.
Lovers.
Yep. Thank you, Bob. You're my go-to name, man.
I help
Only
people
Lovers
out,
Left.
Randy, when they forget titles.
That's your misfortune.
So yeah, I mean, it's hitting on a lot of the popular love vampire beats, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I could definitely watch it several times.
Yeah, it's easy watching for sure.
Yeah,
It is easy watching, yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I dig it. I think we're all pretty much on the same page with this one.
Mhm.
Keep an eye out
so.
for it. No release date just yet. Randy, what's your superlative?
Mine is just simple and straightforward. Most adorable film.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person coming to a theater near you, maybe in the near future.
We hope.
Next up, we got a movie called Bird Eater, and this, I believe, was an Australian production. And
I hope so, because they're speaking some deep Australian accent.
Which did give me a little bit of trouble.
It was made in Georgia,
It was
the state.
totally. This is a weird story about this girl who goes on a bachelor party with her fiance and like all of his friends, and it turns out maybe he and his friends aren't the best type of people, and there's some interesting revelations that happen. There were like multiple scenes that I had to rewind and rewatch because I could not understand what they were saying. The main guy is kind of like a quiet talker too, so that with his accent, like combating the score, like I was like, I got nothing in a couple of these scenes, man.
Maybe it's because you said that, and I was maybe more focused, but I had no trouble. I didn't have to rewind at all. Yeah,
good for you.
I did a little bit, but it was like, it was a little sparing. I think in my case, I just had a lot of environmental noise because things were happening in the house while I was trying to watch it. But you watch it when you can. So
yeah.
What did you think of it, Bob?
Oh yeah, Bob. Tell me now.
I think it's an interesting story. It's a weird kind of story. There's a couple really tense moments that I dig quite a lot. Specifically, the dinner sequence they have when they first all get to the cabin. They sit down, and there's some of his friends are out there, dude. They start asking some pretty wild questions, and it gets really tense and uncomfortable. I really like that scene quite a bit. I don't know that I loved it because the characters were like so dislikable overall. It was an interesting movie though. I don't know, how did you guys feel about it?
I think I was texting while I was watching it. It reminded me of two movies kind of meshed together and like on a lower scale, but Bodies immediately came up, and The Invitation also kind of came up. And I found this movie to be very funny because a couple of the characters are very wacky. There's a kind of drug element too. So like some people are tripping balls, and they're Australian. So when they wig out, I kind of find their accents very funny anyway. So it's but there's definitely this kind of like dark undertone too. So it's always playing with this interesting sense of tension where everybody knows each other and they're familiar with each other, but actually they kind of don't, or it's been a while since they've seen each other, or one person kind of stands out a little bit and you're kind of isolated. And I don't know, it was an interesting, very interesting film. I liked a lot about it.
I mean, it definitely has some connective tissue to it. Like it's almost a subgenre at this point. It's just uncomfortable friend gatherings, overnight friend gatherings. Because I could like The Rental is another one, and God, you said The Invitation, but I had another one in my brain. Anyway, there's one that came out in some sort of festivals last year that we saw called Stag. That was a pretty similar conceit, like very similar conceit. But I don't know. Like this is like just. This movie feels like it's just so like the people in it are so toxic and so awful. Like it's hard. There is like some not point of view characters, but like a couple of characters that are like pretty okay, like that you root for or whatever. So it's not like you're without somebody to root for, but like, man, the majority of the people doing shit and making decisions and making things happen in this movie are just dirtbags.
That's why it made me think of Bodies, because that's kind of the same deal.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're in for that, I also think that there was the one guy that you were pointing out, Justin, if not now then earlier, that was just like kind of a kooky dude. He was pretty funny to watch. I wish I could remember the character's name, but it was a good performance and everything. All the performances were good, but like the main boyfriend guy is like he's begging to be locked into cooter jail so bad.
Yeah. You got looking at tire.
Movie,
I like the premise of the bachelor party too, because it invites wacky things to happen that you can kind of like easily brush away. Just as an instance, they make the main character wear this like ridiculous outfit the whole time. So even when things are very serious and tense, he's just dressed up in this ridiculous like gimp outfit. I thought it was pretty damn funny, actually. It was I've been thinking about it. Like there's elements of it that have just kind of like lived in my brain since I watched it.
There are definitely parts of that movie that I really, really like. And then there are parts that were just a little bit like, all right, like just kind of moving through the motions for me. But, and I don't think I found it quite as hilarious as you did, but it was definitely like, I think it's worth the watch, man. I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Bird Eater, no release date on that one yet, but keep an eye out for it. Randy?
That one, superlative goes to Bird Eater for the biggest cooter convention at the festival.
That sounds about right.
Oh, yeah.
Next
or
screener,
Bogan convention, if you will.
Bogan, yeah. Next screener we got Eczema. And this is a South Korean production. It's making a bit of some noise over in South Korea currently. Right, Juice?
Highest grossing Korean film of 2024 so far.
Nice.
And kind of like the biggest movie, like ever since COVID, they just haven't really like had a lot of like big things like theater wise where people are like going to see it. This is the one where I first like took notice, like, wow, people are like going to the theater to see this.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. It got a limited release in the States March 15th. Looks like Wellgo USA is putting it out, so I don't know when it'll get like a wide release or physical release, but I imagine that'd be coming pretty soon. So you should be able to watch it shortly. This was a pretty cool movie. It's got a lot to do with like shamanism, and there's one of the characters is a geomancer, which is a term that I'd never heard before, but it's pretty interesting. A lot of ghosties, a lot of hauntings, some pretty cool stuff happening. What did you guys think of it?
I didn't get a chance to watch this one myself, so Juice, all you.
Well, I think from an outside perspective of like, it shed some things on Korean culture that most people would not know of. So like the idea of, so it's about graves, and Korea, I think like Korea might have more like grave space than they have actual like living space. Like technically, like graves are very important. The location, Bob, you mentioned it. So it's like one of the characters is this kind of like grave salesman. He finds like the ideal spot and sells you the land and like matches you with the, whoever owns it and stuff like that. But our buddy Sean over at the Dark Side of Soul runs a grave tour, and I've been on it before, and he explains like it's got to be pointing a certain direction, and there's got to be a water source nearby if you want the best kind of grave. And so here you go to like graveyards, and they're just these like hillsides. They're just there's like a whole mountain, and it's just graves. So yeah, it touches on some interesting aspects that like people wouldn't get to experience otherwise. It's got our boy Chae-Min Sheik in it, who is in Old Boy, of course.
Our boy.
Old Boy. So yeah, it's got a good cast. It's got some cool shaman scenes in it. It was a very different movie than what I expected it to be, but it's got some very interesting elements to it.
Yeah. Check out Eczema. Probably pretty soon, right? I guess there is no superlative for that one, Randy, since you didn't catch it.
That Eczema is superlative is most film.
The most film did see.
It might be the longest one, actually. So that is.
Hey, so that makes sense.
It's Korean.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
It's not as long as I think it was a little over 2 hours, maybe 2:10. So at least they didn't hit the 2.5 mark.
Thank God. Next, I think this was the last screener we got, actually. It's a movie called Infested, and this was a French proper production, I believe, and this is going to be hitting Shudder on April 26th, so you'll be able to watch this really soon. And it's, a creatures run amok movie. This guy who lives in an apartment building is into collecting just crazy insects from all over the world, and he buys this really cool looking spider and takes it home with him, and it gets out and procreates, and there's, you know, an infestation, and they have to quarantine the building, and shit pops off. It gave me some Attack the Block vibes. It just, you know, without the aliens, but it's like a squad of kids or like young adults that are, you know, trying to survive this really terrible situation in an apartment building. So it kind of had that vibe. It also had like a bang and hip hop like soundtrack, a lot of like French stuff, but I liked the energy of it. Did you guys both watch this one?
I did.
I didn't get a chance to see this one.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I like this movie quite a lot. I think Attack the Block is a great jumping off point, but this is definitely like a more of a this is a French film. It's, you know, French citizens doing French things, but it's
eating baguettes.
But it has that same energy of like, you know, a community in, I guess, sort of a slumish sort of area or whatever, like sort of a decrepit building. And there's like a cast of characters going through this. I don't know. It's got a lot going for it. But one of the greatest things about it to me is that the creatures look really good. Like I couldn't tell which of the spiders were live or in like practical versus digital. I'm sure there was a mix because there's a few of them that are just like, it's not possible that they made a animatronic that good for a movie this size. And it could be that they're all CG, but something about them being sort of like just sort of scattered throughout the shot a lot of the time, but still moving. It really sold it in a way that worked really, really well. I don't know. I like this movie quite a bit. It was like action oriented. It was a lot of like back and forth and like running to this place and then to that place. But like, so that's like probably a critique, but it was just a lot of fun. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good creature feature.
It is. Yeah. I think I'm really happy it's going to Shudder. It's a perfect Shudder watch. Definitely don't sleep on it when it hits. It's just a good time. It's a lot of fun. Cool. So check out Infested, April 26th on Shudder. And so now we'll be getting into the movies that we actually
Infested superlative is
thank you.
Fastest spawn rate.
Nailed it.
There we go. Very important that we do these, guys.
It's essential.
This is what the people come here for.
We'll be getting into the movies we actually got to watch at the festival now. So the opening night film was Cuckoo. And it certainly is weird, man. Dan Stevens plays this creepy little German guy in it. And he owns
the little guy.
He owns this this inn like in the Alps, and he's also
like the location,
a preservationist, and he like, you know, does mysterious research. It's all very vague at the beginning. And
sounds kind of does it have a gothic element to it?
No,
maybe
no.
Well, like maybe like a little.
Okay,
yeah.
Just the way you're describing it in the mountain.
Like the story is kind of gothic, but
doing
the
some mysterious
style
research.
Really isn't.
Okay, well, that's okay.
The style reminds me of some like Italian productions from like the 70s and the 80s. Some weird. It's weird, man. It's best. I know they released like a teaser trailer. If they release another one, don't watch it. It's best to just go in with as little information as possible, I think, to watch this. But a family goes to stay at the inn, and they have a young daughter, and she gets into some trouble. And it's fucking weird. It's hella weird. But it's pretty cool, though. It's like hard to really compare it to other things. It's just kind of got its own sort of vibe. I don't know. What did you think about it, Randy?
I like this movie. You had told me in advance because you saw it in a theater before the festival, for some limited run that it did, and I was prepared for something way weirder than what I got based on your comments. So everybody take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. It is an odd film. Like it's got some odd things going on, and it's got a pretty interesting I don't know, central premise, like just something I don't think that I've seen exactly before. But it's, I don't know, there's some like I don't know. I don't want to make comparisons because then I'll start spoiling it. So overall, like, I think that it's a pretty interesting movie. That's like a good looking movie. I had a good time watching it. It kept me guessing as to what was really going on here, who's doing what is Dan Stevens really after, what is this person after. Like, there's a good healthy amount of characters in this movie to sort of like throw wrenches into the works. And yeah, as things sort of unfold, like I don't think that I stood any chance of guessing what was actually happening on my own. And I like that. Like, I enjoyed that about it, just the keeping me on my toes of it all. The performances are great. Dan Stevens is great in this. He's just perfect at like a menacing piece of shit. And the German accent just adds an extra level of that to me. Yeah, I like this movie a good deal, but I think like with the quality level of the overall fest, it's probably somewhere mid-pack to low back just because it's a pretty strong showing for this festival this year. I think.
Yeah, they had a lot of really great films in the festival. So good job on the programming. Because damn,
good job.
Randy, what's your superlative?
My superlative for this is plain and simple: best Dan Stevens in festival, which is actually a category that has a little competition.
Yeah, you had options for that. Yeah, so that's Cuckoo, and it looks like that's getting a wide release August 9th. Is what it looks like. So
spooky season, boys. Oh,
it's a little bit like that Cure for Wellness movie, but like not as gothic as that.
For some reason, I knew you were gonna say that when you like cut yourself off. That was literally the first movie that popped in my head. I maybe based on Bob's description. That's so weird that you actually said it.
I said it.
He said it. Oh my god, he said it.
The next movie we caught Friday morning is a movie called Red Rooms, and this is another French production.
Rooms or runes?
Rooms.
Rooms, like a room.
MS. Red Rooms.
Okay. Red Rooms. Gotcha.
Actually, I think this is another Quebecois production. It takes place in Quebec or Quebec.
I think so. Yeah.
And yeah, there's a serial killer that is going on trial for allegedly killing multiple women, and our main character is this woman who is a model as like her full-time job, but she's also kind of an internet sleuth, and she is trying to find some evidence of the alleged killer's innocence. So she's trying to help him out basically, and this movie is like just such an incredibly tense thriller that shows you almost nothing. It does so much with so little. It was freaking me the fuck out, man. Like,
damn.
Got under my skin. What'd you think, Randy?
I mean, yeah, totally. This is a movie that made me want so badly to take a step back for a second because it's dealing with really fucking heavy topics. And like you said, like without showing anything, it implies so much. That fucking opening courtroom scene where it's sort of like things are introduced and you're kind of just given the rundown of the story. It would normally in a movie feel like just like, man, when is this exposition going to fucking end and we're going to get to something? But it's fucking riveting from top to bottom, and it's so devoted to being like a depiction of realism. Like it uses like it talks about how people find these videos on the internet, and like some like just from having like read articles or whatever and like knowing stuff about the internet. Like they're using real shit. Like they're showing stuff like there's a service that they use called Have I Been Pwned, which is the dumbest name in the world. But I use that service because it tells you when your email address is involved with a hacking situation, like a mass hack situation, or it's found on the dark web, I think is actually right. So like they're using real life stuff. They're talking about real life issues, but they're like microcosm focusing in on this one woman and her relationship with it. And this movie also keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
And this movie is not going to get as much praise as it should for this, but the fucking sound design is really good in this too. Like there's a couple of moments that they do so much with just like a little implied sound, and oh my god, it's fucking.
This one sounds the most interesting so far. Y'all are getting
towards the top of the pack for me.
Yeah, it is among. I think we all got out of this theater and we're like, fuck, that was great. Like we're just like kind of blown away at how good it was.
Yeah,
it was bleak as hell though.
Yeah,
like,
it's very.
Does it have a wide release date?
No, I don't have a release date for this one yet.
Hopefully, God damn it. We'll be covering it next year in August.
Yeah, maybe. There's like two moments in this movie that are like seared into my brain that I'll never forget. It's a good ass movie though. Red Rooms. Randy, what's your superlative for this one?
My superlative for Red Rooms is most likely to make you want to take a 3-hour sadness shower.
Yeah, correct. Red Rooms. There you go. The next one we caught was a movie called In a Violent Nature. And this one, I believe, is going to be on Shudder May 31st is what it looks like. And there is a trailer going around for this one now. And it really, what the movie is basically is you're following around a Jason Voorhees-esque serial killer. And he's just going through the woods killing folks. And you stay with the killer for almost the entirety of the movie. And you're just following him from kill to kill, basically. And this was a Canadian production. And I would say if you dig Friday the 13th movies, you're really going to dig this, I think. It definitely has some humor. It's got a lot of brutality. It's just got some pretty interesting ideas at play. It's definitely not reinventing the wheel, though. It's like if you've seen a slasher, you kind of know what you're getting into here. But I got a kick out of it, man. How'd you feel about it, Randy?
Yeah, no, it's like it's nice to see an angle on a slasher movie that makes it feel fresh, even though the elements are all mostly the same. And it plays with that expectation and what you know and what is happening off screen and on. Like, I don't know. I like it. It's like a fun experiment. And I think that, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it kind of putters out from my taste, like at the very, very end. Like, but aside from that, I think the journey of watching this thing play out is great. And it honestly has some better kills than a lot of modern slashers that I've seen. So good on them for that. And, you know, they also made a pretty spooky looking motherfucker for this thing, so they did a good job finding cool.
That's the key in the design.
Well, it would, like, the thing is, what's interesting about it is you don't see that much of it because it's literally like walk behind shots most of the time. So like you see it, you see them, like what he wears and like what his iconic thing is or whatever, but you don't see a lot of it. Cool. Even though you are following him the whole time, so it does keep a mystery about it still, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
and that one's going to be on Shudder. That's the one May 31st.
Yeah, that's on Shudder. And the killer's name is Johnny, and he was actually there in character with the mask and everything when we were playing trivia, walking around, and you could take pictures with him, and we did that.
Cool.
It's a fun movie. It's pretty interesting. It takes place in 1979. There's no score in it, so it's like you're in the woods and you just hear, like, you know, cicadas and birds and wind and shit like that. So it's like very. It has like very
wind and shit,
eerie moments. It's wind and shit.
There's shit in my wind. Oh God!
That's what happens.
Don't you hate it when that happens? That's In a Violent Nature. Randy, what's your superlative for that?
My superlative for In a Violent Nature is best pretzel. If you know, you know.
Yeah, very true. Next up, Abigail. We were able to watch Abigail Friday night, I think. And
is this the one we're supposed to cover this week?
Yeah, this is the one we're supposed to talk about. There's trailers going around. This Abigail actually comes out the day that we're dropping this episode, the 19th, April 19th. And this is the latest from the Scream 5 and 6 / Ready or Not directing duo. And it definitely has some like Ready or Not kind of vibes. You know, it takes place in a big creepy house. The trailer makes it very well known that there is a little vampire ballerina girl just going apeshit. And there's a big cast. Melissa Barrera from Scream 5 and 6 is back in this. She does a really good job in this movie. Dan Stevens, this is the other Dan Stevens joint. Just really big cast, a lot of humor, a lot of blood and guts, and it's like a really good like Friday night movie. It's action packed. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, it's kind of got like a Fright Night feel about it to me, or something like that, where it just feels like a movie that does exist for popcorn watches and for fun. which, you know, isn't always something that you see made on such a big scale and successfully so, even rarer. I was happy to see. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say too much because we're going to cover it next week. But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. I definitely would recommend.
Yeah. What's your superlative for it?
My superlative for Abigail is the Toothiest Tyke Award.
Yeah.
Bob likes extra teeth.
Oh, don't we all? Check out Abigail.
I said tyke.
Nope, just you, Bob.
Check out Abigail today, right now, if you're listening to this. Go, check it out. Next up, we got to watch a movie called Azrael. And this movie is wild as shit. So, this is a post-rapture movie. And our main character, well, several of the characters in the movie, including our main character, do not speak whatsoever. There's almost no dialogue at all in this movie. There's some.
There is none, I don't think.
No, there is one guy.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Yes.
There's some like creature stuff happening. There's some culty stuff happening, and that's all you really need to know. A lot of fire and brimstone.
Post-rapture, so people get sucked up into the sky?
Yeah, and we're left with...
off-screen, but yes.
With
and we're left with the bad people.
that are left, yeah.
All right. That's a cool take on like post-apocalyptic, worlds or whatever, yeah.
I was pretty psyched on that as a premise for that reason, because like it could very easily just be whatever version of zombies or whatever version of whatever. But like it adds a whole lot, and really that's core to what they're talking about in the movie.
How did Nicole like it? That's all that matters, since
Nicole didn't get to see this one.
Oh damn!
Yes, unfortunately, she had to take off. But she has been told that it's the religious horror of the festival for sure. I thought that like it really is a movie that just like you're tagging along as something goes on, kind of similar to In a Violent Nature, where you're just like following and just things. Mm-hmm. It's a like straightforward sequence of events, but not straightforward at all, and like you're finding things out. It's a little bit of Quiet Place and a little bit of I don't know. I had another comparison, but like it's got the Quiet Place, but like more heft to it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this, and I couldn't remember her name. Samara Weaving is our lead here. And she's great. She does a great job with literally no dialogue in this. This was also written by Simon Barrett, which is a name we're all familiar with, and it was directed by E.L. Katz, who has previously directed Cheap Thrills, which is a movie that I fucking love.
I'm with you, man.
This has
E.L. needs to be in the director's chair more often.
I agree. Wholeheartedly, man. This is definitely one worth checking out. No release date on it yet, but it's pretty cool, man. It's one to keep an eye out for sure. Randy, what's your superlative?
For Azrael, there it is. Best action sequences. I just went straight forward with it. I just felt like some of these action sequences in this movie are just it's action thriller horror sort of stuff, and it plays that way. There's some great action in Abigail. There's some great action in A Violent Nature and stuff, but like this stuff, it's just like pretty consistent, and all of it's good.
Almost nonstop. Next movie we got to watch is called Kill Your Lover, and this is about a couple that are in a toxic relationship, and the girl is trying to muster up the courage and strength to break up with her longtime boyfriend. And she's about to do it. He comes home, and it turns out that he's fallen very ill with some sort of mysterious disease or something. So she kind of holds back and doesn't break it off with him and tries to sort of nurse him back to health. And it spreads to her. And there's a lot of body horror stuff going on here. And that's pretty much it, actually. That's kind of the story. It's pretty much a one location type thing, their apartment, and you just see their relationship kind of fall apart over the course of about 80 minutes. It's got kind of a punk rock sort of soundtrack. The girl was like a retired punk rocker, so it's got that vibe going for it. What do you think, Randy?
Yeah, this one is like sort of in the tail end of my personal favorites list or whatever, because it's like it really is like a therapy session on celluloid for whoever's writing this. It feels like, or at least several, or maybe several people like combining their stories of, bad relationships or bad relationship moments or whatever. But yeah, the body horror aspect is pretty good, but it's maybe overshown a little bit, as be my critique about that. And like they just show it a little too often for it to remain impactful. But it is like, if you're looking for a story that's like, if you just broke up with somebody and you need a catharsis, this is going to be a good movie for you. I think this movie's got a built-in audience in that sort
breakup
of thing.
movie, huh?
Yeah. It pulls no punches in terms of like just leaning into not just like qualms you have with your significant other, but like getting petty with it, like real petty with it.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
the visuals and some of the dialogue I think are maybe a little too like on the nose. If maybe it was a little more vague or a little more humorous, I think it would have come together a little better in the end. But if you're going through a breakup, this is a movie for you, for sure. What's your superlative for this one, Randy?
For Kill Your Lover, I gave it the veiniest film award.
The veiny triumphant bastard.
Yeah,
right on. We got two more here. I think these last two are probably my two favorite of the festival. We definitely we went out on a high note here.
Playing favorites over here.
Look at me go!
How dare you?
This next one is a movie called I Saw the TV Glow, and this director Jane Schoenbrunn, I think is Schoenbrunn, had previously directed We're All Going to the World's Fair. That's I think that's on Max still. If you haven't seen that, it's worth checking out. But this movie is the one that I can't stop thinking about. Like I just keep thinking about it. It's set in 1996, but it spans kind of a long. There's several time jumps, but it starts in 96. It's about these two high school kids that are watching this television show on the like teen network. It's very very much like a Nickelodeon sort of thing, and they start sort of experiencing weird stuff involving the TV show, and it has this kind of I don't know, like what's the fucking creepypasta? Yeah, it's got this like creepypasta kind of vibe in the story. It's beautifully shot. It's definitely got some influences from like Are You Afraid of the Dark? And there's Pete and Pete have like a very quick cameo in it.
Damn.
Yeah.
And Fred Durst is in it, but he's totally unrecognizable.
My Lord.
It's like
complete. I didn't even clock him at all. I'm still not 100% sure that he's who I think he was. But
yeah, I wouldn't know unless I just knew. Like you would never be able to like figure it out really. It's like it is a beautiful movie. It looks gorgeous. It's like heartbreaking. It's just really extremely interesting.
Wait, is that got a wide release date?
I think it's coming out pretty soon.
I thought I saw a trailer for it.
Yeah,
there was a trailer before Civil War for it, for sure.
Looks like it's May 3rd. It's getting a limited theatrical.
Ooh, we might have to cover that one, boys.
I would like to.
I would like to. That's a movie worth talking about.
Well, we can't.
For sure.
Too bad. We're full.
What is this?
I do think
withholding little bitch. What's going on here?
This movie might be a bit polarizing. It's it's weird. And as soon as the movie ended at the festival, there was a lady in the audience that the credits started rolling, and she just said, "What?"
Oh.
Which one of y'all dead motherfuckers just said that shit?
So,
I mean, the first movie was too, though. We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Yeah.
People were very split on that.
Polarizing movie. And the thing is, like, this one, I think is it's an improvement on that, but it uses a lot of, this is a perfect, like, blend of Gen Z sad boy shit and millennial nostalgia. It's totally, a weird confluence of those things, and it works
just like our show.
Yeah,
I'm Gen Z.
Yeah,
You
the dick and
boys
fart
have
jokes
the-
definitely are a sign of depression.
You have
I'm
the
sure.
you boys have the nostalgia. I bring the young age.
sure,
Yes.
sure, whatever,
Yes.
whatever
You
you
guys bring the nostalgia.
I'm surprised we didn't have to describe who Pete and Pete are to you. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, but this, yeah, Rob's totally right. This is a very beautiful looking movie. It has it takes a lot of what happens in World Fair and the way they approach that, and that's like devoted to being like almost real time like footage from a webcam a lot of the time, most of the time, all the time maybe. And this one goes way out of its way to do like a lot more like avant-garde shit, like visually, filmmaking wise. It does a lot of interesting things, including like the way the narration plays out, and like it's a movie that you really need to feel before you try and parse.
Yeah, totally.
The internal logic of it is less important than how you feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely check this one out if you can. Randy, what's your superlative?
My superlative for this is the most nostalgic references per minute.
Yeah. Faux show. And we capped the festival off by watching another Irish production. This movie is called Oddity. And this doesn't have an exact release date, but it is going to be on Shudder towards the end of summer, is what they said. So, maybe July or something, August. And this movie is like, of all the movies we saw at the festival, this is the best, like, downright dirty, straight up horror movie. Like, made me jump out of my seat 4 times, probably. Like, got my ass going.
A lot of people jumped.
Yeah, dude. It's got some great moments. It takes place in like a small town in Ireland, and this married couple, the guy's a doctor, and he buys this old, like, big motherfucking house in like the middle of the Irish countryside somewhere, and his wife is sort of renovating it, and something really horrible happens to her when she's there alone one night fixing up the house, and turns out her sister, she's got a twin sister who is blind, and she's also a sort of medium who can commune with the dead. And she gets involved.
She owns an oddity shop.
Yeah, which where the name of the movie comes in. Dude, good shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
We
really
needed a solid, like true to God, unquestionably horror film in our roster here, and this one fills that so well. Like, it's kind of jump scary, but in a way that's like welcome. I welcomed it because they were all for the most part earned that I can recall, and the other thing is now there was such like a pendulum swing away from jump scares popularly in new films that I'm happy to see it come back in a good way rather than as like a cheap teenager scare sort of movie. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's definitely got the most scares per capita. In fact, that's my superlative.
Whoa.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Ireland.
Way to squeeze it in. Yeah. Maybe the Irish are coming up, man. There's a lot of cool stuff that I don't want to spoil that happens in this movie, but definitely keep an eye out for Oddity hitting Shudder sometime this summer. Really enjoyed that one. So yeah, that was all 15 movies that we watched at the Overlook Film Festival 2024. And
nice.
Again, big thanks for having us back. Everybody over at the Overlook Film Festival are amazing. Jason Berger, the publicity manager, talked to us like the whole weekend, man. Like, he's super, super helpful and just genuinely kind. And I look forward to chatting with him again. So shouts outs to Jason.
Cool.
And
good crowd, good fest.
Yeah. Very good.
This
vibes.
is becoming a staple for the Straight Chillin' crew.
It's hard to say no.
Yeah.
We had talked about spreading the love to other fests, but man, it's really tough to say no.
They're not as good.
That's true. A lot of the times that is true. This is the perfect size festival. Like, it's you can approach just about anybody at some point or another if you'd like, and everybody's really friendly and happy to do that. And it's like there's lines, but they're pretty well managed. There was a weird line format this year, but nothing that hindered us from seeing anything. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a good fest. Like I haven't been to too many that fits that perfect balance of being small enough to be where you can like just chit chat with anybody.
Yeah.
And big enough to where you're getting like high quality films like consistently.
Yeah.
This definitely did that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, all of it was good. All the events.
This is
all
our
the
third
movies.
year, right?
Yeah.
Our third year covering,
year,
yeah.
And
All
there's
right,
some talk about maybe doing a straight chilling meetup there next year. So we'll see. We'll see about that.
Interest
Wow.
checking.
Yeah.
There was some talk.
Some talk.
I haven't been included in that discussion.
No, we know. Yeah, we're not going to include the guy who talks about his future sex cult so frequently. So I think we made a wise call.
Well,
Yeah.
don't count me out yet.
Yeah. So
never have.
Mark that down. Next spring, potential meetup in New Orleans. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you got some movies jotted down to keep an eye out for, and hit us up with any questions if there's anything you missed out on. We're happy to answer if we can. Anything else you guys want to mention before we close out?
No, I just
I don't think so.
excited.
Thanks to everyone who sent the screeners and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see these other films. Sounds like a good haul this year.
It was.
2024
Very good haul.
bouncing
I would
us
say
back.
that, last year probably had higher highs, but overall, I think the bar is averaging higher this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that for sure.
Nothing as good as Renfield, though, right, Bob?
Dude, I love that movie. I do. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. And until next time, as always, everybody, please keep chilling.